Have you ever had anyone ask you why you paid so much money for a new gaming console? You have one or two or many more already. They all play games just fine. We don't always have ready answers for those people, especially since anyone asking that probably wouldn't appreciate the jump between your average console generation. But has a video game ever made you ask, is that a game? Or is that real? Such questions may now be more common than ever, but in 2007, the first time I ever asked that was watching this cutscene in Ace Combat 6. They're playing to their strengths here. Close-ups on highly detailed aircraft models, fixed lighting and weather, great fake lens effects, wisely hiding the areas where they had to make trade-offs for performance. When it came out, it seemed like a vindication for the budding 7th generation consoles. I was floored. This is what games can look like now? In my opinion, this game justified not just buying an Xbox 360, it justified Microsoft making it. It was truly special, a paradigm shift. It marked a turning point in video games. An era of older games which would always go out of style had ended. This new era would continue to improve, but its games would always stand the test of time. Lest we forget, it's not just a technical showcase. Ace Combat 6 is a fantastic game, and set the standard against which I compare any flight combat game, including its sequels. But to my amazement, it's 15 years old. Does it hold up? I'll get back to the graphics, but first, let me go over the fundamentals. Core gameplay is as fun now as it was 15 years ago. The fantasy of being a fighter pilot and entering climactic dogfights looms large. Ace Combat games are arcadey rather than simulators, so that means that they pay less attention to the realism of the physics or the armaments than the thrill that they can invoke for the player. The thrill and the theatrics. You have a wide array of weapons at your disposal, but your machine gun and standard missiles are always with you. Beyond that, you get one special weapon slot, which you choose before any takeoff, be it mission start or mid-mission. You also get dozens if not hundreds of weapons in your payload, so you seldom have to worry about running out. Special weapons are always devastating, and a good deal of them are fearsome to watch. One thing included in Ace Combat 6 that I don't think I've seen anywhere else is the missile follow cam. You press B to launch a missile, but keeping it held down allows you to follow it to impact. It's a great little touch that you could easily miss entirely, and it adds nothing to the experience other than the thrill. You can still get shot down or crash your plane while you use it, so it even comes at a small penalty to use, which somehow makes it that much more rewarding. Performing stylishly in games is always fun, especially if you have an audience, but it's particularly fun when the style comes at a risk. Your Y button switches between available targets, and holding Y fixes your camera on the selected target, wherever on your screen it is. The neat thing is, once you've destroyed a target, the camera stays slewed to the burning wreckage for just a few moments before cycling over to your next target. It's not the most efficient system when you're in a hurry to pull off more shots, but again, it enables the player to really savor the theatrics of the thing for just a moment before getting back to work. Something so gratifying to me whenever I play it is how missiles will pile onto destroyed aircraft. A lesser game, perhaps because of technology limitations or lack of imagination, would see missiles pass through a destroyed target. Not so here. When you, your wingman, or your allies shoot more missiles at a target than it needs, they will continue to just ram the thing. So satisfying. I love the simplicity of the core gameplay. You get into this zen flow state, a race to see how many dudes you can shoot down and how artful you can make it look. They win my heart with the shoot mechanic, which sadly got ditched in later entries. It rewards a bit of skill and patience with a sound effect for feedback and a perfect missile trajectory for impact. It's another tiny addition, but it adds this payoff that nudges you to keep honing your skill. It feels so good. They did try to mix up the formula in 6 by introducing multi-front missions with distinct operations, each with their own success and fail conditions. It's okay, but sometimes the expectation that you can support all these is a little unreasonable. I know I just said you get into this zen state, but this is the part of the game that threatens to break you out of it. Managing the different ops gets unwieldy, and if you hear radio chatter that one unit is in trouble and you want to help, the best way to single them out for assistance is by pausing the game to look at the map and who's where. To stay in my happy flow state, I normally just wing it, and then you get people yelling at you.
Dragon Busters are down to their last forces. It's a mess down there, Garuda team.
Because no matter who you're helping, someone else is left out to dry. Now, the devs lean on replay value here for you to close up all the operations on subsequent attempts, And I didn't actually complete every operation in every mission until this most recent playthrough, when I deliberately did so. And just to put it in perspective, I've probably played every mission of this game at least 10 times. You could easily complete every operation in 2 playthroughs if you're diligent. I just never was. But there are some rewards for your diligence. I love the special weapons and aircraft designs you can buy. I love how much there is to unlock and how dedicated you have to be to do it. They added another feature for 6 that's connected to the operations, which is the Allied Attack and Defend commands. They're fine, but a little token. It's cool watching allies rain down firestorms on targets of your choosing, but if they've got all this firepower, why are they waiting for you? Ace combat games are notorious for the enemy AI. It's generally passable, but they artificially make some enemies hard by allowing them to maneuver impossibly, or making them telepathically maneuver so you can't line up a shot over and over again. Sometimes this is a tougher pill to swallow than others.
Missile struck target. Garuda 1, Fox 2.
The one aerial refueling in the game is neat, but kind of pointless. You can initiate landings mid-mission on aircraft carriers or nearby airfields, which are better, but still half-baked. It's all optional, and I absolutely do it. It's just kind of underdeveloped. The game is striking a balance between making it super realistic and making it approachable, but the result is just not that engaging. On the very engaging side, Ace Combat games are famous for the crazy fictional aircraft and weapons they develop, including the ones you have to battle. The standout in 6 is the heavy command cruiser called the Elgato. It's basically a flying aircraft carrier and cruise missile platform. This thing is incredible. I love the concept, the design, the name, the launch and recovery ops, and I love the mission where you take it out. It's so hype. The music freaking owns. The ocean island setting is sick. It feels monumental. Just taking it down is challenging. It involves a lot of skill. Newbies, unfortunately, you'll probably die a lot before you get it, but overall, it's just a well-earned mission. It's kind of disappointing if you think it signals the end of the game, though. No? Just 14-year-old me? How naive I was.
Aerial battleship number 1 down. It's going down.
The story is pretty dull, at least the cutscenes are. I say the cutscenes are because the story and characters featured in the cutscenes overlap very little with the characters you play and play with. Their story is cool because you get invested in it. The first mission sees you kicked out of your capital city and fighting tooth and nail from there to get it back.
This is Ghost Eye to all planes. Air Defense Command has ordered an evacuation. You've been ordered to give up Grace Maria.
The mission briefings and the radio chatter between your allies during missions contextualizes each operation and the overall struggle to retake Grace Maria.
Garuda team, you're almost to Grace Maria. Put everything you've got into this.
In this scene, right as you think you've got the enemy on the ropes, you're ordered to cease fire and retreat. Again. And your wingman isn't having it this time.
Garuda team, that's an order. Cease fire and withdraw from the airspace immediately.
You've got to be nuts! Our city's under attack here! You can't expect us to abandon our people!
I repeat, you have been ordered to cease fire by mission command. This mission has been aborted.
I'm putting an end to this war right here. My family has suffered for too long. This is it! Let's do this, Garuda 1!
I'd say the in-game story earns its keep. But the cutscenes are dull and cringeworthy. Graphics look nice in spots, rough in others. Not much work was done to adjust the lip sync from the native Japanese, and some of the voice acting is dreadful. My memory of the cutscenes and story was that they were interminable, leading my younger self to just skip them as a rule to jump back into the action without delay. Playing for this video, I rewatched them all again, and it's all way shorter than I remembered. They're just dull and not well written. The Ace Combat series is known for earnest, serious, ponderous stories, and I think it's a love it or hate it type of thing. I like that they're going for it, I just don't think the execution is very good. It glances across various themes, but no direct blows. Everything is hackneyed and uninspired. Too many ridiculous coincidences happen. Everyone is either in the military or have loved ones in the military. My take is, play the game for the production value and the incredible gameplay. but disregard the story. Ace Combat 6 still looks great. I will grant you, 2 game generations later, it's no longer gobsmackingly good. But do I look at it now and think it's ugly? By no means. It holds up gorgeously. However, after 15 years, I can more easily spot the shortcomings. Contrails and clouds look surprisingly pixelated and jaggy, but I think that might be a casualty of being upscaled to 4K. Textures on the ground have always looked sus up close. The aircraft now look a little flat too. I've always said that cutscenes could pass as movies at a glance, and they probably still could. Environments still look gorgeous, but in 2022, we're no strangers to vast, beautiful game worlds, and they've only gotten more advanced over time. I do love the variety of geographies on display though, as well as the times of day and the weather. You'll visit all manner of biomes, climates, and times of day. It felt like a quantum leap in 07, and you can see why. Just like the gameplay flourishes, there are some great visual flourishes. There's a cool effect where the cockpit shakes when you get going fast, just enough to be noticeable, and it's uncommon enough to get going that fast. So when it kicks in, you get this feeling like things are getting real. You're usually racing to bail out an ally or take out a bogey before he crosses a threshold, and the shaking sells it. Or take the moments where you'll see a tangled mess of contrails in the sky. It feels special, like something big is happening. Your aircraft will leave contrails and vapor over your control surfaces during maneuvers. Fake lens effects are littered throughout the cutscenes and used brilliantly. Aircraft animate fluidly, and the big ones impart a convincing sense of scale as they lumber through the skies. There's nothing quite like it. Explosions, something you'll see a lot of, never get old. Watching machine gun tracers lance through the sky as you fight to line up the pipper with a target, seeing sparks streak off the fuselage until it blows up, that's just magical. The one night mission looks gorgeous, and the level lets you bask in it, taking its time easing you into the fight again. You can just take in the fireworks and the beautiful city lights before the fighting starts. Even when you know it's coming, they almost lull you into a false sense of peace. The one thing about Ace Combat 6 is it doesn't always feel invigorating like jinking around in a fighter jet would in real life. The fixed camera means that no matter how fast you're flying or how expertly you maneuver, you don't have a frame of reference for comparison. Flying fast near the ground doesn't feel fast either, which in real life is dizzying. Pulling off aerobatics never feels quite daring. Future iterations and Hawks games will have some ideas to remedy this. But even with the fixed camera, you do get a taste when you track your target, and especially in the replay viewer. Ace Combat features terrific audio. Take this clip. The sound of acquiring multiple targets is strangely satisfying. Missiles are a little wispy, but not so bad. They blow up great. If you listen closely, you can hear the distant report of the explosions. You get different effects depending on your proximity to them. Radio chatter is good for the most part, and it sounds right.
Bandit at my 12, locking on. Shamrock, Hawks 2.
You tend to hear the same allied chatter over and over.
Enemy ship sent under.
There are tons of audio cues that you hear and get to know and become this synthesis of information for you. Allied commands, incoming missiles, machine gun hits, flak hits, operations complete, missions complete.
Enemy bombers are approaching the city. Intercept.
The mission complete sound. What a good sound.
All enemy bombers have been eliminated. We somehow plucked every last one of them.
A special one, the sound effect you get when flying through explosions.
Bandit in my sights.
Your machine gun buzz is nice.
Garuda 1, missile evaded. Kill confirmed. That makes 1 kill for Garuda 1.
But listen, the highlight is the music. The cutscene music is excellent, and the gameplay music is top tier. Ace Combat 6 boasts one of my all-time favorite game soundtracks, and I'm not the only one. It's hard to talk to any fan of the game long before the music comes up. There are live concert videos of orchestras playing it for audiences. I've seen friends post it on their Facebook pages during finals season as hype music. The soundtrack is rich, full of verve and passion. There's some mellow, somber stuff as well. Whatever they use always aligns perfectly with the mood and the tone they're going for. Each level and each cutscene has its own song, and the level tracks in particular really get stuck in your head and become fused in your memory with that level. The game had multiple composers. I suspect some did the triumphant, bombastic stuff, and others did the more intimate tracks. Looking at their other work, they've touched some other gems, including Demon Ex Machina and Soul Calibur 2, both with fantastic music. It would be a crime to discuss the music without hitting on the theme. It comes up a few times, each time more impactful than the last. Seriously, this tune is iconic. After 13 missions of getting beat back and clawing your way through victory after victory, to launch a massive assault to retake your capital city to this song is nothing short of exhilarating.
I shook off the missile.
Captain, we're about to capsize. Send out the evacuation order.
70% of the Slovakian fleet is now destroyed. Marigold's operation is going well.
Ace Combat 6 is a relatively simple game, all things considered. And I like simple. As I cover at length in my Ghost Recon review, I think we need more simple games. In fact, the few things they do in this entry to spice up the formula are the things that irk me a little bit because they mess with the flow. But overall, it's a strong showing, and it remains great to look at, great to play, and great to listen to. To this day, I still consider it a paradigm shift in console gaming, ushering in a new era of games that feel amazing to play and look breathtakingly realistic. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, check out my channel for other videos you might like.